This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming. Hey guys, I'm going to have a Q&A next video. Please be sure to leave a question if you want to participate. Warning, vulgarity awaits. Whoa. Could this actually be the last worst weapons in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel video? After 6 months, is it finally going to be over? Seriously though, it's crazy to think I started making these best and worst countdown videos on weapon types in both Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel about 6 months ago. It honestly feels like it's only been like 2 to 3 months since I started. And, oh, I'm sorry, I gotta get back into the character now. Today, we shall smite ye shitastically horrible laser weapons in the pre-sequel. I know it's hard to believe it, but you can actually fuck up a laser in Borderlands the pre-sequel. I guess there aren't very many shit lasers, but I definitely can think of at least 5 overhyped pile of fuck lasers. So this will be the top 5 worst laser weapons in Borderlands the pre-sequel, back with shitty and cringy jokes. Number 5. The ZX-1. Before Borderlands the pre-sequel even came out, there was some hype for the ZX-1. After all, like the Seeker back in Borderlands 2, who doesn't want a gun that plays the game for you? Fire and forget is the shit, just as long as the missiles don't weigh a fucking ridiculous 7 pounds each. Sorry guys, I'm getting sidetracked. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 4 survival mode lately. Anyway, the developers did improve many of the problems with the Seeker. Like the slow projectile speed is now a fast projectile speed, plus they added an element to the projectile to increase your DPS. Unfortunately, they didn't fix everything. How the fuck are you supposed to hit anything once you've locked onto an enemy? The projectiles seem to take this ridiculously chaotic firing pattern, ensuring that most of the shots that you fire actually miss. Why can't I even crit with the ZX-1 either? At least give me a random chance to perform critical hits against enemies without needing Nisha's tombstone skill. Now, it's definitely not the worst gun, but it's definitely not a great gun either. What a pile of fuck. Number 4. The Freeze Easy. This gun sounds like some fucked up marketing slogan companies make up to sell something that's a triple T. A truthfully total turd. Not to be confused with a triple H, a hellaciously horrible I'll let you fill in the blank. I guess while the Freeze Easy can freeze an enemy through their shield, it's not really that powerful, especially for being a Maliwan beam laser. You may notice that the low damage up against some of the weaker mob enemies in the game is actually okay, but once you start trying to perform a lot of critical hits in quick succession up against tankier or more badass enemies, you'll notice that the DPS on the Freeze Easy is very low. Besides, there are other weapons that are better for freezing enemies and deal more damage. For example, the Phrygia fires 2 projectiles per shot and can strip shields on almost all mob enemies very quickly, and of course has a very high free chance. You also have the Excalibastard, which will always freeze an enemy upon scoring a critical hit, and is just a pretty good weapon overall. I feel sorry for you if you wasted your time with the Freeze Easy. After all, it's definitely not off the heezy, faux sheezy. Number 3. The Fire Starter. You know, they could have just made a grenade and called it the Firecracker, and it would have made a lot more sense. As long as it acted like the Contraband Skyrock grenade, and instead of like exploding like way up in the air, it actually exploded on ground level, it actually would be pretty good. I suppose it's okay early on in the game, but later on in the game, pretty much every other laser available is better than the Fire Starter. You know what? Scratch that. Because when you receive this Fire Starter early on in the game, you're mostly in vacuum environments where fire weapons perform worse than normal. Once you finally get to areas with a significant amount of atmosphere, this weapon's level is too low to even be viable. And even on higher level difficulties, under some of the best circumstances, this weapon will beat most generic mob enemies, but will have a very hard time killing badass or other higher health mob enemies in a reasonable amount of time. And because of that, it's very similar to the Freeze Easy. And you know what? Even on Athena, with 200 Maelstrom stacks, this weapon still is pretty bad. So in summary, just get the Torgmata, guys. It is way better, trust me. Number 2. The Vandergraaff. I've always hated this heap of shit. And you know what? I think I can fill in that blank now, since the Vandergraaff is a hellaciously horrible heap of shit. The only thing that the Vandergraaff has going for it is that it's virtually a guaranteed 100% drop from deadlift at the very start of the game. Otherwise, this laser sucks compared to many of the other lasers that you can acquire later on in Borderlands the pre-sequel. Deadlift can also be a real pain in the ass to kill, and pretty much all of the difficulties thanks to the verticality of the area that you fight them in. If you go in to fight for your life, you're pretty much dead. It may also be worth mentioning that this gun has the same skin as the Commerce SMG from Borderlands 2, which is also another piece of shit weapon. This is a shame, as both the Commerce and the Vandergraaff, that weapon skin looks really cool. I guess you could use this gun early on, but I think you really should sell this pile of fuck when you get the chance. And finally, number 1, the Menmen Lighter. Now, I know people think I use a soundboard for this, but just to prove that I don't, what a boatload of bias! In my humble opinion, this is the worst laser in all of Borderlands the pre-sequel. The Menmen Lighter has atrocious fire rate, ridiculous ammo consumption, extremely low damage, but also has unpredictable and unreliable damage chance. What I mean is that even if you shoot this thing at something, you're not even sure when it's actually going to deal damage to whatever you shot it at. I'm not honestly even sure what the developers that designed the Menmen Lighter were thinking when they made the Menmen Lighter. Maybe they wanted a Death Orb weapon, but if so, why is the damage that this thing deals so low and so unpredictable? I mean, I am always open to new weapon ideas, but this is a legendary weapon and therefore is supposed to make my jaw drop with its raw power, not cause minor seepage of the anal glands. If you got the Menmen Lighter as a drop from an enemy, you probably cringed so hard, it's almost meme-worthy. Anyway guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like. Remember, we are doing the Q&A. That's either going to be on June 8th or June 9th, depending on how some things go. But anyway guys, if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, and as always, take care and I'll see y'all next time.